I'm Brian Van, SportbikeTrackGear.com. Today we're going to install a Skutrnet exhaust servo buddy on a 2017 Yamaha R6. Okay, this is the 2017 R6 that we just installed that kick-ass M4 full system on. When you do that, right, and you eliminate the servo and the cables, you're gonna have an engine light. Nobody wants an engine light, especially not for something that trivial. So, servo buddy, plug this bad boy in, light gone. Steve's gonna blend into this video where I was removing the stock exhaust, how I dealt with the cables, all those steps. You can see that part. It's gonna be down low, right? Okay, basic hand tools here still. Right, that's just a 10 wrench. Get the one out of the way here first. Like so. This. All right, and those are now out of the way. It's going to allow us to get the canister itself off of the bike. Now we're going to focus on up here on top of the bike what it takes to get the servo off, the cables off, and then plug in the buddy. If you look at the seat, you can see I've already loosened these up. You flip up the ears like so. That's a 5mm head, right, Allen? Piece of cake, boom. Seat is off the motorcycle. The area that we need to get to is so conveniently covered by the rearward tank mount. In true mechanic fashion, I'm going to try and do as little disassembly as humanly possible to service that. I'm going to begin by taking these panels off the side of the fuel tank, because that's going to gain some clearance, going to buy me some clearance, and when I'm prying up on the tank and such, I definitely do not want to damage these plastic panels. Okay, so you've got your fastener there, right? Slide back. So fastener and pull back. Repeat that process on the other side. Now we're going to get the fuel tank mount bolt. That's a 10. Take the nut off, we'll slide the bolt out. And what I'm hoping to achieve here is to be able to get just enough movement, right, out of the tank that I can get in there and retrieve the servo and the cables. Towards the front there is another mount, okay? This part here, this is really similar to my 2008 R6. You know, in that 2008, that's going to carry you basically through 16. There are definitely some differences between the bikes now. I can see that pretty clearly here with this 17. Go to the other side, retrieve that fastener, and see if this is going to be enough. Okay, now let's get these trim clips off. Phillips screwdriver, thread that up, okay? There's one on either side. From there we can just manipulate this. There's no reason to take that little piece of trim off. 5mm T-handle, and we're now ready to get that support bracket Watch your clearance with the tank. Probably most important when it's not your bike. You can see with this project, right, between the stuff that we did down there at the rear set and the exhaust, what we're doing right now, this is kind of like installing the system too. I mean, this is not a novice project. I mean, this is something where you have to have some tools, some experience, and of course, a little bit of ability. Come to the other side, pull those two. Okay. Support the weight of the tank, like so. Pull the bracket. Now you can see I've got good access to retrieve that servo motor and cable. Okay, got a roll of duct tape underneath the gas tank. I did unplug the actual fuel pump itself, right, just so I could have just a little bit more space to lift this up. Got one fastener back here. Okay, it's a 5. Just gonna get in there. Get that busted loose. See, I switched T-handles here. I've got a Motion Pro spinner T-handle. I needed a little bit more length. Fastener's out. I'm just going to go ahead and retrieve that. Here's a washer. Get that as well. Put those to the side. Looks like they're using a tension band here to help hold that motor in place. Peel that out of the way real quick. There's the plug. Lock tang. Go ahead and push that. Grab the connector itself. Slide that back. It is definitely pretty compact underneath here. Okay, get the connector off the motor, push back, and that's where the Servo Buddy itself will ultimately be plugged in. Okay, to retrieve the servo motor, just need to loosen this band from some of its mounting points. I use this trim tool to do that. Got one right over here, 2. Okay. There it is. Okay. Remember, I already had the cables, right, in a pretty loose position, tucked up underneath the subframe. I'm going to see if I can manipulate those a little bit, pass them through. What I'm doing here is I'm just kind of going to continue to manipulate the cables so I can get them around the corner. Okay. Anytime you're flailing about around the battery, right? Terminals are semi-exposed right now. You're going to want to be very cognizant of that positive terminal, okay? So you don't ground anything out. There you have it. This is the motor we're eliminating. These are the cables. This would open and close a flapper valve on that stock slip-on. So we're going to lose a little more weight too, which is nice. And we're going to create some more space here in the under tray area. I'm going to go ahead and take this actual band off. There's no need for that to be in there at this point because there's not going to be anything for it to support, okay? It's kind of interesting. We will reinstall that fastener right here. It is part of the support for the under tray. Okay, so I'd like to put that back in there. From here, all that's really left is to plug in that Servo Buddy and button this back up. Snug that up, like so. Don't forget your duct tape. Servo Buddy. Okay, this is plug and play, super easy. Right into the factory connector, like so. Okay, now, with anything, right, you want to do a nice clean install. You don't ever want to just, hey, cool, let's just toss it up in there and see what happens. Take a hot second, right, and let's secure this bad boy. Trying to find a nice spot here where there's already a hole. Cable tie is usually super sufficient, right, for this. Grab one of those. I think what I'm going to do is come under here, like so. I want the bulk of the connector to be down in that area, right there, okay, where the motor itself was previously held. Cable tie. All right, just so it's not flailing around. Grab a pair of side cutters. We're going to trim the tail off of that. Like so. Okay. Taking my duct tape back. Underneath, there is the connector for the fuel pump, okay? I disconnected that because it was pretty clear right out of the gate, okay, that was not going to allow me to come up high enough. You definitely do not want to pull too hard on that. Now it's time to put the support for our fuel tank back in place. Like so. Get everything kind of lined up. The factory thread locker that's in there, it's still going to work pretty well, okay? So we'll just leave that. You can run all four of these down now. There's no reason to wait for anything else. So get all those torqued completely. And you can see with these that there is still, a relatively fair amount of drag from that factory thread locker. Okay. Get each one of these seated. Nice even pull on them. Okay. Final steps here. These are super important steps. How you support that gas tank. One thing that a lot of folks learned on the previous Gen R6s, it's going to be these side mount bolts right here, okay, on either side that work in conjunction with this for the fuel tank. The one up front, that one's almost like a suggestion. That one's not even that important, okay? But I'll tell you right now, I know more than one person who rolled around without those in place because they either forgot them or they didn't tighten them up enough and they fell out on the track. And what ends up happening is it will damage some of the plastic side panels, right? These closeout panels right here. And now they'll fall off on the track, get busted. Nobody likes that. So make sure you have not only this mount, but both of those side mounts secured 100%, okay, before you button this bad boy up. Pretty basic, simple Christmas tree stuff. These little clips, just put them in here, boom, boom. We'll put our closeout panels on the side of the tank and then finish up with the seat. One important tip with your seat. See the tang here at the front of the seat? You need that to engage positively right up here, okay? So, kind of look down in there, watch that thing, put a little downward pressure, just like that, okay? Now, you can see I've got the ear up here in the back. I'm going to start that one by hand. Come over here, second one, same thing, 5mm T-handle. You don't need a ton of torque here. Make sure they're snug. These are going to come out and be reinstalled numerous times, so if you're hard on them, they're not going to be able to do that over and over. Notice how I'm tugging on the front of the seat. That makes sure that you've got your tang engaged. Last but not least is, let's come down here, okay? Because now remember, we just got done pulling those exhaust servo cables all up through here. We have the wire loom clip that I'd undone previously, still undone, and I'm going to go ahead and lock that into position. You can see the wires, everything is secured professionally. And now we should be minus engine light. Okay, there you have it. I'm Brian Van, SportbikeTrackGear.com, and that is our Servo Buddy install on a 2017 Yamaha R6. And if you can't tell, I'm sweating my nuts off. It's really hot out.